Before I tell you what the habit is, I want to slow this moment down because most trading mistakes don't come from ignorance. They come from speed, speed of thought, speed of reaction, speed of wanting answers. So for the next few minutes, I want you to listen without trying to use what I'm saying. Just notice it. There was a phase in my trading where I was doing everything right. I had rules, I had risk management, I had a plan. On paper, I was disciplined. But in real time, something kept slipping. Not all the time, not dramatically, just enough to matter. And that's the most dangerous place to be. When you're not reckless, but not consistent either. When you mostly follow your rule, but occasionally break them. When you know better and still act differently, that's where confusion grows. For a long time, I thought discipline was about strength, about forcing yourself to do what you know is right. But forcing never lasts. You can force discipline for a day, maybe a week, but eventually emotion wins. Not because you're weak, because emotion is faster than logic. Fear doesn't ask permission. Greed doesn't wait for confirmation. Boredom doesn't announce itself. They just appear. And by the time you realize you're acting emotionally, you've already clicked the button. That's when I understood something important. If discipline depends on willpower, it will always fail under pressure. Because pressure is exactly when willpower is weakest. Most traders think their biggest enemy is losing money. It isn't. The real enemy is internal noise. The thoughts that appear while you're waiting, the stories you tell yourself when nothing is happening, the urge to do something just to feel involved. Silence is uncomfortable. A quiet market feels like wasted time, and the mind hates wasted time, so it creates reasons. Maybe this is a setup. I don't want to miss this. It looks good enough. Not lies, just justifications. This is where most traders lose control. Not during chaos, during calm. At some point, I stopped asking how to win more. Not because I gave up, but because I realized winning wasn't my main problem. Stability was. So I asked a different question. How do I lose better? How do I protect myself when I'm wrong? How do I respond when nothing is happening? How do I stay mentally intact long enough to actually improve? Those questions didn't feel exciting, but they felt honest. Here's the habit, and I want to be clear. It's simple, it's boring, and it works quietly. I stopped journaling trades, and I started journaling states. Not outcomes, not setups, not results. States. After every session, especially the ones where I didn't trade, I wrote down, what did I feel while waiting? What did I feel after a loss? What did I feel when price moved without me? No explanations, no analysis, just honest labels. At first, it felt useless. I'd write the same things again and again. Restless, impatient, bored, tempted. It didn't feel like progress. And that's important because real progress often doesn't feel like progress. After a few weeks, something unexpected happened. I started seeing patterns, not in the market, in myself. I noticed that. My worst trades came from boredom. My biggest mistakes came after waiting too long. My impulse trades came after feeling ignored by the market. Not random, predictable. Once you see that on paper, it's impossible to ignore. You stop thinking, I messed up, and start thinking, I know this state. That shift matters. Here's the part most people miss. I didn't try to fix these states. I didn't tell myself to stop feeling bored. I didn't try to suppress fear. I just noticed. And slowly, discipline stopped feeling like effort. Because when you recognize a state early, you don't need willpower. You don't argue with yourself. You step away naturally. That's the difference between discipline and suppression. Suppression fights emotion. Discipline understands it. This habit didn't make me trade more. It made me trade less. But the trades I did take came from clarity, not urgency, not excitement. Clarity. Losses felt quieter. Wins felt neutral. Waiting felt normal. And for the first time, my behavior started matching my knowledge. That alignment is where consistency comes from. Not from better strategies, from fewer internal conflicts. This habit will not make you feel motivated. It won't make you feel confident. It won't give you dopamine. In fact, it may feel boring for a long time. And that's why most people won't do it. But boredom is not the enemy. Unconscious behavior is. This channel is not about fast profits, constant trades, being right. It's about awareness, patience, survival, longevity. It's about staying intact long enough to develop real skill. If you're here looking for excitement, you won't find it. But if you're here because you're tired of fighting yourself, you're in the right place. The market doesn't need you to be smarter. It needs you to be honest. Honest about when you're calm, honest about when you're not. That honesty is the beginning of real discipline. In the next video, we'll talk about why waiting feels harder than losing money and why that discomfort is actually information. Until then, slow down, observe, let the urge pass without acting on it. Let the market move without needing your involvement. And notice what happens when you stop interfering, not with the chart, but with yourself, because somewhere in that stillness, after the noise settles, after the need to be right fades, there is something most traders never reach. Not excitement, not confidence, just clarity. And with clarity, peace at last.